that many of us have been seeing for quite a long time. And it's just because of things like Nancy Pelosi giving immunity to telecoms and giving George Bush, the power to spy on us without warrant. They see that Nancy Pelosi was briefed on torture in 2002, and she didn't do anything about it. And they see that the Democratic Congress has the lowest approval rating of any Congress in history. It has passed the fewest amount of bills as any Congress in history. Its only job is to fund the federal government. It hasn't even, done that, and it has used its power unwisely to fund these illegal and immoral occupations and to not hold George Bush and Dick Cheney accountable. So people are starting to wake up.
Well, that's what I was going to say. A year ago, when you said you were going to run or may run and then started running, I guess you've been talking about it for like a year and a half, but now we're here. You did get attacked up front, but then it kind of sunk in. Like Mark Twain said in the beginning, a man or woman, a patriot is a scarce thing, hated and feared and scorned. But in time, when their cause succeeds or when the proof is in the pudding, the timid join him, because then it costs nothing to be a patriot like Cindy Sheehan. And now, now we're a year plus into seeing everything you said being validated. You're just ahead of the curve. I'm ahead of the curve. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying... I'll be honest with you, Cindy. I'm seeing liberals, even former Congressman Danberg come on here and say, he believes in the Second Amendment now because he understands government's tyrannical. I'm just seeing the paradigm smash, particularly with the left, and really intellectually getting it, and really, I don't know, I'm just impressed with it. There's still throngs of Barack Obama zombies and Pelosi zombies, sure. I'm just saying I have to give credit where it's due, and I have to say that the left is really impressing me. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think that I do see that, and I agree with you, and I don't feel as lonely as I did a year ago. But then again, when I first started speaking out that this war was illegal and immoral, and George Bush was a liar, and George Bush was a murderer, and George Bush was a terrorist, I felt lonely then, but most of the country eventually caught up with me. So I think that, it takes somebody like me who, I don't say I have courage, but I don't really have a whole lot left to lose, and I can go out front, and I can take the smears, I can take the attacks, because I've buried my son. And if they think that there's anything that the left or the right or the middle or anybody can do to me that's worse than that, that's not going to happen.
What did Janis Joplin say? Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose?
Nothing left to lose, absolutely. And I think with the attacks on our Constitution, with the attacks on our rule of law, with the attacks, like you said, it's becoming a fascist police state, and most people don't even realize how close we are to any second.
Yeah, it's time to get past the partisan. It's time to get past the partisan bull where you put a Republican hat on so you can't talk to anybody else outside that or ever think, or you put a Democrat hat on and then you can't talk to anybody or think. We've got to end that, not talking, not debating, not being involved.
Well, and I think also you said that the left has started to awaken to that fact and believe that just because someone has a D after their name that they must be good, because we know that's not true. We know that Bill Clinton was responsible for killing right now maybe as many of Iraqis as George Bush has, that he and his policies were just continuing the fascist police state from the Reagan administration and the George Bush administration. So, that it is nonpartisan. It's a nonpartisan fascist control of our government. So we have to join together in a nonpartisan way to challenge them. And it's also people on the right. And Ron Paul was able to energize a whole, an entire generation of young people who are willing now to stand up for our Constitution and stand up for the rule of law. And, I don't agree with every policy of Ron Paul, but there's many places we interconnect, being anti-war, anti-imperialism, and anti-police state fascism.
Absolutely.
And that's what we have to work together. We have to overlook our differences to confront this, because there's so few of them and there's so many of us.
Yes.
And we have to reclaim our power.
Yes. Cindy, we're going to come back in the final segment with you. Maybe it could be a little bit longer. I know you said we could have more time, but I know you're in your car and you get into a meeting. But before we go to break in 1 minute, fire out the website, the phone number, volunteers, money. People want to help you bring down Nancy Pelosi and hopefully bring this war to an end.
CindyForCongress.org, Cindy, F-O-R, Congress.org. All the contact information, our address, our phone number is on the website.
And people can give nationwide. They can give
nationwide. We've been able to raise almost $400,000 now, and it's come from donations from $5 all the way up to the maximum donation from just people. We won't take any money from AIPAC. We won't take any money from corporate lobbyists who earn their money from oppressing people and violence.
You know, Cindy, I don't want to waste any of my time with you. I'm going to skip this 4-minute break and then come back right up to the bottom of the hour at 30 after. So we've got exactly 10 minutes left with Cindy Sheehan. We're going to skip this break for all the Infowars.com stream listeners, that exclusive stream. Got to go there. Not the GCN stream, but the Infowars stream. And, of course, watching on PrisonPlanet.tv. We'll be right back. Cindy, let's continue with grassroots, what people can do who are in California, who are on the West Coast particularly, but also nationwide. I mean, people can call into talk shows from, if they're in New York, they can call San Francisco talk shows. I mean, explain your district. I mean, there's so much letter writing campaigns, postcards. I mean, there's some people, if everybody does a little bit, we can get you elected.
Right. Yeah. Awesome.
Tell folks about that right now. We're still on air.
Oh, okay.
I just skipped the break.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, let me see. Where do we start? First of all, we accept donations. No amount is too small. We put every dollar to work in our campaign office. We are going to have a grassroots section that's coming up really soon where people from outside the district, like you said, could phone bank for us. They can send postcards inside the district to people explaining why they support me. We are going to have canvassing and voter registration. There's so many people in San Francisco who are not registered to vote that are, they're qualified to be registered to vote, but they're not. They have felt so left out of the process for the last few decades, when the corporate control and the rich, established elitists have taken control of the country, and that's the only people that Nancy Pelosi represents. She doesn't represent my neighbor on the street who can't afford to buy gas, who are, they're losing their homes and their jobs. So we're going to do a very targeted grassroots voter registration, get out the vote. We're going to give people, Nancy Pelosi always brags that she gets 80% of the vote. She gets 80% of about 20 to 25% of the people who actually come out to vote. So that's a very, very small percentage. So we're going to energize people who haven't voted for a long time to go back to the polls, to give them a reason to go back and vote. We collected almost 20,000 signatures. That's halfway to what we need to defeat Nancy Pelosi in November, and we haven't even started campaigning yet. So I think that with the help of people around America who realize the historic importance of this election, who realize that they have to do more, not write your congressperson now, not support the two-party duopoly that really is just one party, but work for a candidate who will bring just fundamental change, who will start. I'm a supporter of the Constitution. I believe that I believe in the Second Amendment, that we have a right to keep and bear arms, and we know historically that was to protect us from the government. But I am just fearful of an armed revolution against this government. They have Blackwater. They have, every conceivable weapon that they...
Studying the history of warfare, they will lose if that physical fight starts. But what we might get out of the revolution may be an even worse government, is what history shows.
Absolutely.
We can certainly win it.
Every time we've gotten a worse government. So I believe that taking out Nancy Pelosi is just an amazingly peaceful revolution.
We want something like Gandhi did.
It will spread.
We want what Gandhi did. We want a bloodless revolution. We all know it really wasn't totally bloodless. We're going to come back to the full audience right now. We were behind the scenes just on the internet. Now we're going to come back. I want to talk about, is Nancy Pelosi scared of you and where this is going? Here we go.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
We are streaming this live as television over the internet at prisonplanet.tv and Infowars.com. And we just came back out of the break. We skipped that break. Some stations, though, carried that break. In the time we've got left, you said such incredibly eloquent things there, Cindy Sheehan, and people should support you right now. I'm going to support you. But before we run out of time here, is Nancy Pelosi starting to get scared? Is she concerned? Because we know that you're wildly popular, especially in that area of California.